Better.
Well, I don't have the pins to
That's a good point, yeah. Good point.
Better stuff.
do it.
See stuff on me.
Oh, yeah, you do.
It didn't.
But you're going so fast
Okay.
that it's
It
a blur
didn't
and
hurt
10 lanes
when
and
I put it out.
east of it. I wasn't even.
Are we up and running?
I believe so.
And
Yes.
Call the Custer County Board of County Commissioners meeting to order. Let the record show today is October
Halloween.
31st at 9:03 a.m. We're a little late getting started. Apologize for that. Ms. Camper, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance today? Thank you.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that.
Okay, it's still not going.
Okay. Our live streaming is not live streaming yet, so we'll give that a minute.
The wrong key. Okay, just go because I don't know which
Okay.
one.
All right, we'll move on. Madam Secretary, we call the roll.
Commissioner Flower,
Present.
Commissioner Camden,
Here.
Commissioner Prince,
Here.
Attorney Clint Smith,
Present.
and Clerk to the Board Kelly Camper present.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Amendments to the agenda. I've got a couple gentlemen. We've been asked to postpone Mr. Baker's request to be on the agenda until tomorrow. And the attainable housing votes has to be postponed until Friday. So that would include the 3 action items under attainable housing.
On Friday,
It's moved to Friday, yes, ma'am.
and Baker to tomorrow.
Baker to tomorrow. Anything else, gentlemen?
I don't have it.
Okay,
Right.
then we'll move on to approval of the minutes.
We accept them for you.
Thank you. Then moved and seconded to approve the minutes of September 28th, October 2nd, and October 3rd. Is that 24th?
No,
October 24th.
just.
What did I say, it's 28th?
It's
Oh,
just the 24th.
oh, I brought in the wrong,
The wrong agenda.
yeah, well, I got the right agenda, or the right board packet, but I put in the wrong minutes, sorry. So just,
I'll second it.
thank you. Been moved and seconded to approve September 24 minutes.
October 20th.
Gosh.
It's Halloween, Tom. You've been possessed.
He's already dressed.
Yeah, got my mask on, October the 24th, discussion. Hearing
I thought they
none.
were well done.
Because of the power outage, that it might not.
Okay, well,
How long was it at?
we'll press on then.
Yeah, sir.
You look very Halloween. Yeah, that's great.
Got your mask on too. We'll move on, audience introductions.
Angie Hardburn, Marilyn Hensey,
Fulton.
Marlis Hartmiller.
Thank you.
2 N's and 2 S's.
HENNESSY.
Welcome, glad to have you guys here. Thanks for braving the elements. Thank goodness we have to brave some elements. It's nice for a change.
Gotta love it.
Gotta jump on the hay season.
That's right. Commissioner items. Mr. Canada, would you like to start?
Sure. It's only been a week since, just seems like yesterday we were
Yeah.
here. A couple things happened, working on the airport, getting the staking completed out there. working on when to start the scraping and moving that berm. Had the engineers up here, we looked at it, and then we'll decide how many cubic yards of fill there is, and see whether we got time to move them or not before it gets too bad.
Good morning, by the way. I didn't see you speak. Can I ask a question about the berm, if you don't mind?
Sure.
I mentioned to someone that we were doing that, for aircraft to come in and go. And their question to me was, well, did you have to approve that with the FAA? And I don't have any idea in the world.
No.
That's something, okay, that's fine.
No, if we were going after federal funds, that whole runway would be a taxiway, and the new runway would be on the other side. And there is a plan to do that if we ever got down that road. But right now, it's a private, or it's not a federal airport.
Someone just asked me that, I was curious.
Yeah, that doesn't fall under any FAA guidelines,
No.
because that current runway is way too close to the highway, so.
Good news is what we are doing is we're building it with that runway's been tested, and even if it were a taxiway, it would sustain the heavy loads of big aircraft. And so we're good there, and the new ramp will be that way as well. And the reason we're moving the berm is because the wingspan on these airplanes hangs over 10 feet on each side of the runway, and if we got a crosswind there, then it hit the berm. So that requires a 1 to 20 slope, 50 feet out, 1 to 20 slope. So that's what we're working on.
Thank you.
Falcon 900.
900 and that class and bigger.
Your
Gulfstream.
new plane.
Yeah, my new one, right? I'd love it. But we'll make it the county commissioners. The other thing was the strategic plan. The S. Brand, Cheryl Trent, working for us. She'll be here on Friday, set that up. And I asked Brenda to make sure all the elected officials and their deputies, in case they can't participate, but will come and listen to how, all she's going to do is introduce herself, introduce how the plan works and how we're going to go about doing it, the process. And then, as I mentioned, we want to think about there's two teams. One's the task force, which will be comprised of 8 to 15, depending on what we decide as a group during that time. Mix of people that covers all aspects of Custer County, and then there'll be the steering committee, or however we want to name it, of maybe 7 to 8 or 10 people. So we'll see what she'll recommend for us. So I'm looking forward to that. And then Tom and I had a good time yesterday looking at candidates for the extension office. Boy, we had 4 great candidates. Surprising. Very well qualified, and it's going to be tough to decide. So, good candidates. Over to you.
Thank you. Monday, I attended the extension interviews in Pueblo. We interviewed the same 4 candidates down there, and then yesterday, of course, interviewed them up here in Westcliff, so that local citizens could have an opportunity to sit in on those interviews and actually participated. We had 5 or 6 people that
We had a good lunch
spent
too.
the day, and then they filled out a ranking form for those, so they turned those into the committee as well, and we looked at those rankings afterwards. So, yeah, cattlewomen prepared lunch for us, so they did a good job. We'll have to find what account we're going to fund that out of, so we can discuss that with Donna on Friday.
Do we have a timing on what an offer will be made?
That's a great question. They indicated that it would be probably a week to 10 days before they get the whole process through the OEO office in Fort Collins or CSU, and then do a background check, then reach out to the potential candidate. They thought probably a month before they actually had an answer, and then who knows when the person would come to work. I'm hoping maybe by the 1st of December, but maybe the 1st of the year. So, yeah, I was impressed with the 4 candidates that we had. We had 5 initially. We dropped 1 from the first round. And I say from the first round, I don't mean the first round of interviews, but when we had a conference call and looked at resumes and all their paperwork. We dropped one, and we interviewed 4 Monday. Well, no, we interviewed the same 4 yesterday, so. All 4 women, so we didn't have any males apply, it was all female. And then Monday night, I attended the Fair Board meeting. They moved it down to Westcliff Farm and Ranch Realty because there was a meeting going on in Silver Cliff Town Hall. And then, of course, had the interviews yesterday here, so busy week.
Yeah, super.
Concludes my report, thank you.
We, after the BOCC meeting last week, we met with the
Justice.
courthouse project. I thought we got some spectacular information.
That was good.
Yeah, I know we all-
That was great. I forgot.
It was excellent. Heard of lots of ways that we can get this done. I hate to use the T word, but looks like raising funds is going to have county participation somewhere along the line. And we have time to worry about that. Other than that, I went to Illinois. I went to see the Arch. I mean, that was a side trip in Illinois to go there to see the Arch. If you've never been to the Gateway Arch in Illinois, it is a
Be cool.
unbelievable experience. And that's about all I've done since 2 days ago we had our last meeting. I've spoken to several people about things.
The Gateway Arch.
That's what it's called in St. Louis.
Oh, in St. Louis.
Yeah, that's that big.
You said Illinois.
I apologize.
Across the river.
It's very
Yeah.
close, so you
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
You swam across the
Yeah.
arch.
And they have a beautiful new bridge you ought to
Oh,
go see.
wow.
It's just artistic. It was very nice. All right, so that's my travel
Yeah, wow.
log for the day,
Oh, good.
such as it is.
Good. Well, speaking of travel, I had to look up Sundance, Wyoming. I'd actually been through it in the last 2 months, but I couldn't remember it. And I kept thinking it was on the western part, but it's northeast of Gillette, Wyoming. So,
Big town.
yeah, but some really nice country up there. But I kept thinking, well, where's Sundance? And when I looked, I thought, well, chrome, I just drove through that coming home from a county fair. So, it was interesting. Your topographical, geographical input for today, Mr. Canada?
Yeah, let's see.
You'll come up with something. You are.
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
I'll let it ride.
Okay, you didn't fly through some little.
No,
Okay.
no, not this week.
All right. Anything else, gentlemen?
That's what I have.
Attorney items.
Well, I don't have any geographical information. I didn't go for any motorcycle rides.
You didn't?
No.
You haven't heard any.
Did you even drive today?
I did. I drove
Oh, you
myself.
did?
Today. So I'm getting there. After our last meeting, I talked to Jackie Hobby a little bit. I prepared a template for a cease and desist order, a little more detailed, based on the procedure that we decided we'd follow. And when you all know about what's going on with Mr. Schoten, we put that, tabled that for a little while. The other one with Mr. Carpenter, he was supposed to meet with Ed Lyons on Saturday and get things going. He never showed, never called him. So I told her to go out and get the notice posted, call him and let him know as well, if she can get word to him. He's got 72 hours to get anything out, and the place is going to be sealed up tight. And then we'll see what the next step is. If he breaks into his own property, then we go to court on it. If he stays out, then it just sits there like that until he gets around to getting the septic system in. And the only other thing was, I got an inquiry from the Sheriff's Department yesterday. They got notice of a class action suit involving food deliveries that they've been getting, and apparently there's been overcharging nationwide by the company that brings their food, and so I advised Paula to go ahead and fill out the claim form and get on board just like we got on board with other class action suits. So that's all I've done since last week.
Well, when you were giving your report about the whole cease and desist and saying it'll be sealed up tight until they get the septic tank, I wanted to just respond knee-jerk reaction, which is the way it should be. which is how it's supposed to happen.
Right.
Good or bad, but that's.
And we did work tried our best to help.
Absolutely.
And that's the beauty of being a small county. You're a face and a name and a personality, not a number.
Yeah.
So
It's just-
you eventually run out of time.
It's just a sad situation, but it is what it is.
And there was another one we also discussed, and she was actually gonna go out there with somebody from Human Services, because there were some issues there. Probably had to do the same thing with that one, get them.
And they did go.
Okay.
Yeah. That's all I can tell you about it, but, okay, good. Anything else, Councilman?
No, that's it.
All right. Mrs. Gady, would you like to get involved in a little show and tell since today? Let me rephrase that. Mrs. Gady, I would like you to do a little show and tell today. Yeah.
I think she's gonna take that thing and stab you with it.
Mrs. Gady had a metal rod pulled out of her big toe yesterday.
The rod part is a little bit of an exaggeration.
It's like a hat
It
pin.
sounds like
To my
Hat
point
pin
now,
pulled
you
out.
do have to show it to me, because I've never seen a rod pulled out of a big
Well, I
toe until
showed
this
it
morning.
to everyone but
Well,
Bill.
pass it
Well,
around.
yeah.
I don't
See
think
that.
I'm talking about our guests today.
Okay, but just be sure.
No, wait,
One of them
Marilyn,
is
come on.
Down in the corner.
Oh,
Okay.
why did you put it there?
She stubbed her toe on a fence.
Toe.
No.
It was sticking out
Isn't
of
that
there.
amazing?
Isn't that crazy?
Yes, that's
It's
part of
it's
it.
like an
It's
internal
all-
brace.
How they pulled it back.
When they say pin, that doesn't, rod is
Yeah.
closer to
Yeah.
it. I get no pin.
It's like a hat
Yeah.
pin. It's-
Yeah.
Sticking out
I mean,
near
it's
your
like-
big toe, that qualifies as a rod.
I
Yeah.
can't imagine walking around with that for a
Isn't that
couple of
crazy?
weeks.
Shrink,
That's tough as
And
shit.
one end of it is
Bag's big enough
hammered
to
out to a
shrink it,
little
no doubt.
spoke.
No,
Yes.
she,
That's what
they
they
said
call
one
it.
bag. Yeah. This is the one bag.
TMI.
And did they intubate you when they knocked you out to pull this out? No.
I think it's gonna make it into the trip this week.
No, I don't know, Jackie can't. Oh, no, she's for the
Knocked
sick
the ball off.
Yeah, you pulled the
She
ball. You
can't
did
get
it
on
first, and
the
then
live
you had
stream
one
because
of
my
the
string's
pins.
out. So I can't buy it, 'cause otherwise I would-
Tough deal, man.
Yeah, otherwise you can hold it right up there to
So I don't
the
need to be
camera
on
and show
YouTube.
Well,
everybody.
yeah.
I don't need to be viral YouTube.
Could you put your toe up here so we can get
Yeah, let's do
it?
the toe.
50 years and they open up these records again and say, boy, they had a lot of fun in those days. The old days.
Yeah. We get
Well, we just
1.5
don't
million
heal.
hits on a viral YouTube video.
Yeah, it's not working, so.
Not doing good.
So,
Thank God.
you missed your chance for
Yeah.
fame.
Fame and
Go
fame
ahead.
and fortune,
My
but
5
yes.
minutes of fame.
I met with Miss Lockhart yesterday, Laura Lockhart yesterday, about an hour ago. Said I'm very familiar with and working with and helping, and she had major concerns about this gentleman being used by a citizen in town and being abused, and I feel we got a really good plan going forward on that, so I just want to mention that.
Good. I'll get back to Mrs. Gady in just a second. I also was remiss in mentioning during the commissioner's items that wanted to congratulate you for a fine-looking picture in the newspaper
Oh, yeah.
with the Department of Human Services recognition plaque.
Great.
It was nice. Thank you for representing us there.
And I'm
Twice.
very proud of the department for winning that
He did a
plaque.
correction.
Pardon?
He did a correction, didn't he? Had 3 times.
I don't know. I just.
I thought it was there
Card.
twice.
No, that's what I say, it's 2 times.
Oh,
I have to tell them I'm not running again. Maybe they stopped posting.
maybe we should do some. Well, good. But anyway, I thought that was nice. Good looking picture and.
Thank you. The
appreciate
real
it.
credit goes to the department that was able to earn that award. I just represented the county, thanking them for a great job they did.
Good. And I want to thank you for representing us. Appreciate it. Any administrative assistant items to be
No.
brought before the board this morning of any great consequence? No? Other than a pin? Maybe you could make some kind of a brooch or necklace or whatever out of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any public comment today, this morning? We'll have another opportunity later on, but welcome. If you have anything to bring before the board this morning, you're welcome to do that.
I just have a general inquiry about what's going on with the new courthouse, the land that's bought. Is there a time frame? I may have missed that.
Commissioner's office, this is Brenda.
I'll defer to these gentlemen because I was out of town
Yeah.
from the last meeting, which was Wednesday afternoon, so.
Start, you can, we meet every month, and we're
I don't
working the
think
big plan.
You are
We
watching
being a
correct
The
one.
Justice Center Committee
Yeah.
and comprises of about 15 people
It's
nominally,
not working
and
at all.
different, all walks of life, businesses to represent
Yeah,
us and how we
but
think.
I'm not.
And recently we were able to
I'm
bring
not
down
seeing it online,
what's
so.
their title, administrative justice. I
Okay.
can't think of the
The
title.
big
Guys from the
owner.
state that actually build
Well, let me
justice
see,
centers,
'cause it's-
courthouses, work
what I
with the
see,
grants
I've
and
got
all that kind of
counties
thing,
on
and
it,
helps
and no one has
counties
moved the
grow,
counties, so
especially
I don't know
counties
what's
of
going
our
on.
size.
I think there's.
And we were lucky enough, we've had them
The
twice.
website,
This last time was where we really, the rubber met the road. They brought a consultant down
program thing,
to
so.
look at how we're thinking, what our long range plan is,
Yeah,
where do we
and
get
I
the
can't.
needs
I can't
assessment
get
that we've
my
already
work
done.
at all.
And we've
Let me
looked
see
at
if
and
I can
surveyed
get
several
to the
courthouses, Alamosa being a good model to follow, and they
Because
suggested.
I haven't been able to
And,
start,
and they're helping us with the way forward, so.
let me see.
So, and that's, Bill's absolutely right, and just kind of to bring it in a nutshell, we acquired, was it about 7 acres?
6.8.
Is that whole plot of land?
Yeah. out-
Surrounds
out-
All the
this
vacant
courthouse and the
land.
jail.
Right behind us.
Yeah,
Well,
to
it's
the north of the,
40 seconds, so.
it's all the land north of where the post office is,
But I
that big
don't know,
lot.
I don't know my use.
South
of-
south of-
And we did acquire it, it is
Bassett
county land.
Place, yeah.
Right, the county owns that now.
I
That
don't know
will
what's going
eventually be
on.
the Justice Complex. They estimate that from beginning to end, the whole process
Oh.
takes 7 to 10 years. We have started this
17,
a year and a
yeah.
half ago, got some studies done, kind of put it
I
on
wonder-
hold,
Oh, no.
and now we're back into it full bore.
Hmm.
This is something
I
that
know,
is
I
an
think
absolute
there's something
necessity
wrong
for
with
this
their
community.
website.
If you've ever had
What
the
I think.
unfortunate experience, even as a guest,
Does everything
to go
I
into
have
the
is-
sheriff's office behind the scenes, you will know how, I will never say on
Right,
live
yeah.
TV, the
Yeah,
inhumane treatment people have, but let me put it this way. We ought to be treating our prisoners much better. The facility is in terrible shape. The court that we have is, we have one courtroom. We will need a second one within the next 5 years is the estimate. And we get help with that. That's the 11th district will help fund that. So we're looking at a justice center that will house the sheriff department, the court system, the jail, and we're not sure what else will be a part of
DA's
that.
Okay, well,
DA office.
Yes, the DA, and we're looking at a judicial center. Then we would revamp the courtroom into, we're overflowing here. We have a few issues. For example, if you need to go upstairs to see the assessor and you're handicapable and you can't get up the stairs, it's an issue. We don't have an elevator. The building really can't be revamped for an elevator without just ridiculous cost. So this is something that we feel is an absolute necessity going forward to meet the needs of the county. So that's kind of the timeline, and we're working diligently on it. Bill's kind of led us, the 3 commissioners. We're all on the committee. Bill's really kind of been a driving force on it.
And we're gonna try to drive it sooner than 10 years, and being, like Jay was mentioning, 5 years is sort of a goal.
Yeah. Optimistic, hopefully we can do it. Unfortunately, it's going to be an expensive project. As you probably guessed, the county's not rolling in money. So we're going to have to find grants, contributions, and what else is necessary. We'll straddle that when the time comes. Trying to dance around, we the citizens may have to pay a little bit to get it done. We'll see where that all goes, but it's a possibility. but it's something that, this is not a luxury item we're looking for, it's an absolute necessity. So that's
It's
kind of.
not just space, it's safety too. It's tough to bring a judge by prisoners and that kind of thing that we currently have. There's a lot of issues, and the jail being one that Jay mentioned. So it's a need.
Well,
Sure.
and I commend you for that, for looking forward. And, there's not a whole lot of land in town, of course, and to grab that while we could.
We are the county seat.
You
If
betcha.
I can
You
also,
betcha. So,
if you don't mind, Bob, just for a second,
hope you're okay.
I'd also like, the reason that we bought the land, first of all, you have to have a place to put things before you can start planning. An architect can't decide. But the Hager family made a tremendous contribution to us, sold the county the land at a very, very attractive price, is carrying the note. I mean, they really need to be commended, and I just want to say, we can't talk that project without thanking them for a great
I
job.
understand that.
And without it, we would be nowhere. We couldn't get started. With the land, it's an in-kind match of several $1 million that we can put up and have back. I mean, it's a great thing.
And
Way ahead.
when the first thing got started about it, and I've been here a long time, as you know, was because this building is great. However, we've outgrown it, and it's not as functional as today. It's different today than it used to be, of course. But to spend a lot of money, band-aiding it, that would not have been a wise move from a business standpoint. So I commend you for that. Now, I did just get back from a 3,000-mile motorcycle ride.
He has the geographical report.
Through the West, and what I will offer as a citizen, and I'm willing to pay with it with my tax increase, is while you're planting this, and it may be past you all, you may be gone, but plant a seed in that. Let's build something we're going to be super proud of,
Right.
and not only now but down the road.
It's not going to be a silver
I
glass
understand.
building. Not going to be the Taj Mahal.
But a coordination thing, and Alamosa is a cool building.
It's beautiful.
And it's got the library in it, and the police department in the back. What a great facility. Another one I just saw was in Bayfield. It's not as big as Alamosa, but Bayfield has a really cool looking thing. So, I mean, I say cool, but and I don't know how, that's their town hall, but anyway, but the Alamosa is really
Architecturally
good.
pleasing.
Architecturally pleasing, yes, exactly.
We want to match and be part of Custer County. We want the county to be proud of
You
it.
betcha.
Because it is a center, and you're going to be able to do all your business within this area, and it's going to be very nice.
When Shannon, if he's still around, he would arrest us with, at
Yeah.
least we're going into a great.
Yeah,
But anyway,
the inner battles of the current sheriff's department's scary over there. Those
exactly.
guys are doing a great job with what they have to work with, but,
of course, I was around when they built that.
yeah.
And that's.
That was a maintenance barn originally converted
Exactly.
into.
Johnny
the,
Camper's
It
truck.
was never designed for what it is. There's
No, exactly. They did the best they could do with what they
there's
had.
some issues I don't want to go into, but
But sometimes we can be penny wise and pound foolish.
Right.
So,
we're trying to, the three of us, with our committees, are trying to look forward to where we're gonna be. We'll be long gone, but hopefully the ball will be taken up. Another area that, and the only reason I'm taking this time is because we took a bunch of things off the agenda, so I think we have a few minutes to extrapolate at the moment. Our landfill is another one that we are trying to vision for the future. None of us will be here when that is, maybe we will. Well, hopefully we can get that expanded within the next 10 years or so. But we're running out of space. Environmental issues to get that expanded are significant. I don't know if you've driven down Rosita Road recently, but we have some water wells that have been drilled and are being drilled to test the water supplies underneath to make sure we're not leaching into our water supply. And once those are done, we'll be in a much better position to go after grants and money for expansion of the landfill. So, and then, we have 1 million projects going on all the time, but those are all long-term projects that you gotta do. I mean, I can't turn to a citizen, I'm sorry, your trash is your problem, go burn it in your backyard. I can't do that, so.
but Jay, along those lines, it's okay for me to say this. I'll offer, where my I'm from Virginia originally, and I spent a lot of time back in Winchester, Virginia with my dad in the last few years. And Frederick County, Virginia has the coolest thing, I think, for their landfill. Is they have it's basically almost a mandatory thing. It's a facility where you take all your stuff, and it's all easy to do for recycling and everything going to where it's supposed to be to keep the minimal amount out of the landfill. And it's a big operation because it's a huge county, but those type of things, in other words, there's a lot of stuff goes into that landfill that could probably stay out. And
You've done a pretty good job. You've been out here.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty good
We're working on
volunteer.
Yeah.
We just had a regional landfill meeting that I attended, and multiple counties and Denver folks were down.
Yeah.
Custer County right now, believe it or not,
Pretty
is in the very higher echelon of recycling. We can always do better, but we have done a tremendously good job. Our recycling efforts are great. If you see the bales of cardboard out there, that's actually a revenue stream for us. Not a big one, but it's a revenue stream for humanity in the future. So we're working on a lot. We're talking about maybe getting a digester, an aerobic digester that it'll break out the stuff that can't digest, and then it'll make into fuel or other things that come out of food waste and stuff like that. So recycling it has to happen. One of the things that I know I'm going to get impeached again tomorrow, but there are multiple counties or towns that have banned plastic. Plastic is one of the hardest. Nobody takes plastic anymore. When you recycle your plastic in Custer County today, it's going into the landfill. I'm very sorry to tell you that, because the only two outlets that were available statewide for plastic have both shut down. China refused to take it, and therefore is the problem that plastic can go nowhere, so we must bury it. So the question comes up, Salida, for example, Chaffee County, just passed an ordinance, or is about to pass an ordinance, where plastic is not, plastic bags for shopping and stuff like that, you cannot, groceries and anybody gives it out must use paper. And then they're gonna charge folks, if you go to the grocery store and you use one of their bags to bring your groceries home, they're gonna charge you like a nickel or dime a bag to encourage you to bring your recycle bag, your bag. So there are things that can be done. Custer County, that would be a hard sell, I believe, but that doesn't mean it can't be tried. So, yeah, you hit a real sore spot with me when we talk about recycling, because we're gonna have more trash on this earth than we have water in the ocean if we don't do something soon.
And outlaw styrofoam.
Styrofoam is one of the worst things there is.
It's terrible.
They have a new, do you mind me taking the time for this? Okay. They have a new method of making styrofoam that actually is made from vegetable oil that degrades in the ground after about a year. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. It's expensive compared to old styrofoam, so convincing a company buy the biodegradable styrofoam as opposed to the normal styrofoam will be a hard sell unless it's regulated. If you tell them you have to, and nobody gets a competitive advantage by making you pay extra for your styrofoam if everybody has to do it. So that's something that could be looked at sometime down the road. We don't really have any companies that I'm aware of that use styrofoam. Maybe a couple of meatpacking plants use some of it, but it's not significant.
One of the great things for repurposing styrofoam is if you have a large planter outside, fill it with styrofoam, and then you'll have to put this much soil.
Yep.
Otherwise, I don't know how else you use it.
Mr. Chairman, thanks.
You mix it with gasoline, it makes napalm.
Yeah,
I knew we had some extra
exactly.
time today, so I really wanted, you brought up some great comments. I want to tell you that we have a commission, are thinking these things through, trying to figure out what can we do to be good stewards of the earth, but more importantly, good stewards to our county.
And I just wanted to go back and touch Alan Matzloss was the guy's name from George Cable. That came.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
And
Okay,
then
very good.
last thing on my motorcycle
Yep.
trip. I don't know if we've talked about this over the years, but Could we do that for Custer County?
Oh, interesting.
We can.
Right to ranch. Looks interesting.
That's.
Picture says, welcome to
Matter
UA
of fact,
County.
I'm
or
glad you
right
brought it
to
up.
farm county.
Because, you know,
We do have a sign deal going. We're trying to put update the signs on the old county road names.
Are
That's a
we
good
up,
thing to have.
are we up and running?
Huh? Oh,
We are,
No, the camera.
is that the camera?
however, for some reason, it has attached itself to a 10/31/17 meeting
Nice.
instead of a 10/31/18 meeting, and we don't know why. We weren't even live streaming
Time
last
travel.
year on 10/31.
Always wanted to do
now
that.
you do.
Yeah,
I'm
so
a
it's
year
a
younger.
Could
Halloween
you forward
mystery.
that to me?
Sure, oh yeah.
Do I look young?
I've seen that for years.
It's a good one. We can,
I've never seen it.
And there's another one too, and I can't recall, and I have a picture somewhere, probably an old
Welcome,
35 miller, a right to ranch.
Yeah.
That's
So
what he
this
said.
way, and what it basically says is, cause this is right there coming into Ridgeway, okay, up over the pass coming from, I turned around and did a U-turn and went back and took this picture because I said, I wanna take it to my friends at the court, at the commissioners. But anyway, so, you know, like Marilyn, you know, she has bought a house here in town and right next to where there's cattle. And she starts coming to you all, because it's in the county, and complains that the smell of the cattle. Well, you know what?
Too bad.
Cattle were here before you, and that's basically what it
So shut up.
says.
I like cows.
No, no, but you know what I'm saying, that's the
so do
point.
I.
Yeah.
I just
So
read them this
You
morning.
hadn't seen that before, Tom?
No, I'm not.
Okay, yeah, but.
So I got a job for you.
Okay,
We want to do it voluntarily because we just started doing a program to replace, as the signs fall off our street signs. We got county numbers, and
Right.
those are, we have to leave those on there because all the computers are keyed to that, the emergency numbers, all that,
Emergency, yeah.
road.
sure,
But they still have the old names of the, like Macy Lane,
Sure.
school fields.
which is all names I know. I don't know them.
So we, that's right, that's how I grew up. But, so we do have, and we do have the funds, we do keep the roads up, and we are replacing the old signs as they fall down and up. But we need help if we wanna make them a little prettier. We can print the green sign and white letters, but if we wanna make them ring with white, it's something like that. So we got Gary pulling together a committee of some people that can help, and we can, help police the roads with him, because he can't go to he only hits them when a snowplow tells him I hit the sign, or it fell down. And if we want to raise some money with some fun things to do throughout the summer to help bring the historic names back in to use, because it really, from my point of view, you know, the roads are east and west running, the lanes are north and south, and so I can tell you to turn west or on Macy Lane, and that keys in, you know, on whether you're going south. Lots of neat things. It's easier than go to 323 and 126.
I'm with
Where
you, Bill.
the heck is that?
So what I'm hearing you say is what you'd like to do is have a combination of the
It
number
has
which
to
you
be
have to
below
have
the
for-
numbered sign.
For the historic
Yeah.
looking sign.
Yeah,
Well,
the
that's
old
what-
signs.
You were involved with that for
Yeah, we did
Pueblo.
that for Frontier Pathways in
Yeah.
Pueblo. When you go to
Okay.
Pueblo, you'll see the street names,
So-
but the historic street names. they're
So I
ours.
can get you the names of some people that want to help do that, participate, and you can help maybe muster up a focus for
Be fun to
us,
do
help
that.
the road and bridge
okay.
guys.
Again, gets back to this pride thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
And
So that'd be great.
Keeping the past going.
Okay, write his name down.
Further
Joe
public
Smith.
comment?
Joe Smith.
I'll be involved with that.
Let me get that. How do you spell it?
Marilyn indicated she'd be
Yeah.
interested as well.
Marilyn did you?
Yeah.
Come on, Marvelous, jump in.
Just jump in.
Okay, other public
Some
comment?
Hennessy,
I already
like
got
the
her
cognac,
dance.
Bill.
Oh, I like that. We got it. Joanne cooks with that. So.
Oh, so HENNESSY.
Alright.
No superfluous extra E.
Yeah, I was
She
thinking
used her real
something.
name, Joe.
Okay, if not, we'll move on.
Joe Smith.
First
Say
item
bid.
of new business is review the vouchers, sign the checks. Gentlemen, have you had an opportunity to review the vouchers?
Briefly.
I did. I just had, there's so many of them, it's hard to say, but we're paying $2,000 for barricades, a rental. What was
For
that?
the Hermit Bridge.
For the
Hermit
Hermit
Bridge.
Bridge project.
Yeah.
Got it, no problem.
Yeah.
That's the one that jumped out at me, okay. Other than that, I didn't see anything. I'll move that we accept the vouchers, that's.
I'll second it.
We move seconded to approve the vouchers as presented. Discussion. I wanna have a discussion with our assessor. He gets to stay at the Hilton in the Colorado Springs, and I've gotta stay at the CCI convention. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to him about
CCI,
that.
Those assessors know where to stay, don't
Yeah, I forget the name of the
they? CCI and their chief
El
hotel.
Gante Hotel in Colorado Springs, yeah, so. Anyway, I saw nothing out of the ordinary. And I just happened to had talked to Larry before, and he had told me about the rental on the barricades and the other signs. So. Further discussion? Because this is under new business, we'd allow public comment if you have any concerning the vouchers. Obviously, without seeing them, I guess it'd be hard to ask or have public comment, but.
I have a public comment.
You're welcome, yes, ma'am.
Just because we're having fun today anyway. You know, I was an educator all my life and asked to go to a conference, Mrs. Jones and I. We were given permission to go to this conference. It was still in state, but it was quite a drive. We were not given the funds to stay anywhere, Tom. So I had to call up a friend and ask if we could stay at their house for the night so we didn't have to drive back after that. So, you know, if you're staying somewhere,
Yeah,
says
count your
that.
blessings, is what she said.
Yeah, last year at the winter CCI conference, I stayed at a friend's place as well in Denver, and the conference was in Denver, downtown by the state capitol. And no, I'm sorry, it wasn't the CCI conference because that was at the El Gante, but the legislative hearings were held in Denver, and I stayed with a friend. Well, she lives in Platteville, which I knew that, but just hadn't really driven from Platteville to the
You might as well
Capitol.
start in Russia.
3
Stay there.
days. 3 days of legislative hearings. I'll guarantee it was miserable. I went every alternative route I could find, and
Still
none of
couldn't.
them. Oh, so I'll never do that again. So, yeah, it was probably 45 miles,
Oh, it is.
and the traffic was just.
It's not 45 minutes.
No,
Yeah.
that's exactly right. So, yeah, I get what you're
Just have
saying. Yeah, I'm not gonna complain about staying anywhere versus driving, so. We'll proceed to vote. All in favor of approving the
Voucher.
vouchers as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay, motion carries. Gentlemen, we will initial those, and we can get started on paying the bills.
So we wiped out this next one, didn't we?
Yeah, the attainable housing's been postponed, so we'll move on to the S-brand logo discussion. We had received an email from Mr. Bogle stating the position of the Economic Development Company and concerning the logo. I wanted to leave this item on the agenda in the event that they still wanted to come to the meeting. Obviously, I don't think anybody's representing them here today, so I think we'll move on, but certainly would allow any comment, gentlemen, if you have.
I have just one comment. I did speak with Charles about this. He said, do we need to come to the meeting today about the logo itself? I relayed to him our discussion in what at the last meeting, that we felt there was a private corporation, and government doesn't want to get in the middle of a private corporation, and they want a logo, knock themselves out. They're welcome to come talk to us if they'd like to, but it's not necessary. I relayed that to him, and I guess that was sufficient, because he's not here.
And I'll say one thing too, we still get phone calls once in a while about the county logo. It's not the county's logo, it is a private logo. Like Custer County Realty can have this logo and they can do what they want with it. And so, and I also want to make sure that everybody knows we as a commission, or the commissioners, love dark skies, like the stars. You know, that's not the issue. At all. So I just want to make that clear, and I'm going to have to call these guys back to make sure they understand that they can sure. I don't know if Charles sells or copyright. It's copyrighted, and so they must rent the logo to people if you want to put it on your website or something. But you sure can do that.
Well, I think they allow that with no charge. Yeah,
That's their business.
Yes,
yeah,
that is.
but that's what they told me that was.
I'd just like to say, as a fourth party involved in that whole process, Custer County Tourism Board even though we had a liaison that represented for, and I just wanted this on public record, the tourism board did not have input. We were not allowed input at all. We asked for it to see the other venues that have a part of it. And we were not allowed to see it at all. July 31st, when that came before the commissioners, I thought that was a part where the public would have input, not being told that that's our logo in the counties. That totally caught me off guard. I helped get that grant, and I was under the perception in dealing from the top to the bottom that the public would have input. Public are the ones that would be like the businesses that collect sales tax and the lodging venues that are a part of this. The general public can have input, but their input's going to be totally different. They're going to be recreational. So I just want to let you know we didn't have that. We do have a member on our board that has taken it upon herself, not under the direction of the tourism board, to try to do some things. I think a letter needs to go out to the other three entities, well, also to the tourism board, stating that we realize this is a private entity, especially CART, they're getting ready to do their Discover Card, and they're calling it the county logo. We have not approved that.
If you don't mind, I feel your angst.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that if the tourism board as a group votes to send out a letter, that's certainly within your purview to do that. It's up to you. I mean, as a group, and you decide, not just one person who's a little upset. And on the other side, believe it or not, go get your own logo if you want. The only difference is, hang on, let me finish. The only difference is, you are a county entity.
Exactly.
That would need to get approved by the county before you could use it. So we recognize that 4 entities were saying they were part of this logo, and it really was economic development.
Right.
We got that, and I think the three of us were a little bit concerned about how it all went down. But again, government doesn't want to get into private business. If the tourism board was part of it in terms of we recommended, we're voting for it, and that kind of thing, which did not happen, then I'd say, whoa.
That was what the discussion was all
Right.
about.
Then-
Who owned it? Because if we had county money in it, that's different. We would have had to
Yeah.
have approved it.
Then we would have said, time out, guys, we're help funding it, we're not, we want more input. But when we finally decided, the three of us, this is a private entity, making a private logo, knock yourself out. So, if you feel like a letter is appropriate, I would ask the board to see if they agree and go do it. And if you want to have your own logo,
Well,
bring it
No,
to
we
us.
tourism
are
does have a logo.
We do have a
I know
logo,
you do.
but we do need to work on some other types of branding, whatever. And,
And we'll be looking forward to what you bring forward.
exactly, but we need the time frame. Right now we have, so.
You need to get your board up and running, you need to settle down, let the dust settle,
Right.
take care of your bylaws, all those things that you need to get
The
done.
more important things at this moment, not that
Correct.
that's not important.
Not that it's exactly what I was gonna say. It is important, but you have bigger fish to take care of right now. And once you get settled down, you have a functioning board, then you can look to see what kind of things you wanna tackle. And I'll just tell you, the three commissioners are gonna support you and try to help you be the best tourism board that you can be.
Well, that's my goal, is to get to where we're a team and we're working as a team.
That is our goal too.
And that's kind of,
So
Well, we're
one
working
word
to
of
finish up
caution
on-
for everybody to understand is that we gotta be careful if people start using Custer County as a name that champions something as a county thing. That's illegal and wrong. You
Right.
can't do that. Unless
you.
we decide, and it's because it's about the county and the people of the county, what they want and how they view the world, and we gotta be careful.
well, I feel as a board
That's why
that
you need to come to us.
we have a responsibility to represent not just a logo, we represent the people in Custer County in all.
That's
We agree with you.
That's the
Correct.
spokes of the wheel.
We absolutely agree
And that's
with
what
that.
we have to do. We're not asking anybody to use our logo. I take it that what economic development did is use this as a marketing tool for what you want to do. But to say that had to be the county logo, I thought was wrong. If people want to use it as a marketing tool in addition to their logo, that's fine. But, and you can advertise, you don't have to have a logo or a brand. Sometimes pictures and everything say enough.
I agree. I think we've
And I think
beat it to death.
Right.
I
Dead
think
horse
we
now.
concur with you.
Okay,
You will have your tourism board, and I don't want to say your tourism board, because it's our tourism board.
right.
The tourism board will have backing from this tribunal sitting up here.
Thank you.
I hope we've shown that to you this far. You will continue to get it.
You have.
So let's move forward.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Other public comment? Even though we're not voting on anything today, I'd allow it, Mr.
I
Chair.
appreciate it.
Hearing none, we'll move on. Next item of business is the Greater Outdoor Colorado grant for the Bluff Project. Good morning. Linda, how are you? Come forward, please. Oh, thank you.
Well, good morning again.
Good
Nice
morning.
to see you.
Good to see you.
Hi.
Your hand looks a little less sore than it did a week ago.
Good morning.
I'm good, thanks.
Hi.
Yeah, my first Colorado snow.
Oh,
Yeah.
It wasn't
Heavy
a great
and
one.
wet.
Oh, there's about 16 inches up there.
Oh, well, you did get a good one in.
Yeah, and it was
How
still
far up
coming
are you?
down. Wapiti Creek.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday we couldn't ask anybody where they were from,
Yeah, that was a weird thing. Wasn't it?
but today we can. We set it in an interview process, and
It would have been on their resume if we'd have gotten the resume,
Yeah.
so I didn't see why that was inappropriate.
Commissioner Kanda asked,
Right.
innocently, I might add,
Yeah, it was.
where one of the candidates was from, and of course CSU
You can't
time
ask
march
right
on
in
that.
there,
You
yeah.
can't be asking people where they're from
Yeah, those
because
state HR rules, you can't
It's
ask
crazy.
anything.
No.
You can't ask anything.
No.
And then you have to say a canned line.
I didn't even want to ask them how they were.
Yeah, I know. That would be offensive somehow.
Pretty
So-
soon you have to blindfold yourself.
Yeah.
Yes, so can't look at them.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm fine, thank
Good,
you.
this is a follow-up visit from our last commissioner meeting down in Wetmore.
Mhm.
And we have a document from you,
From Clint.
from Clint, actually, yes.
Boy, I mean,
So I just printed out what you sent over.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if, I didn't think we were putting any money in.
No, we're not, and that's part of the discussion today.
that's what we wanted to find out.
All right.
Yeah, so let me, I swear my computer is being neurotic today.
It's Halloween. I told you that.
4 computers in the office and 3 printers, and I couldn't get any of them to work. So if you want to see some of this stuff, I'll have to
Well, I
email
click
it
on
when
there.
I get home or turn
I
my
click on
computer
the,
around so
I
you
click
can
on
look
the
at it.
grant, it kept bringing up the agenda, so, yeah, the section 3 did speak to how much money the county was going to commit to this project. We had agreed 0, so I don't know if section 3 needs to come out, I'm looking at the
It
resolution.
says authorizes expenditure of funds necessary
Yeah.
to meet the terms of grant, blah, blah, blah.
So, do we wanna leave that in there and put $0, or?
Or strike it.
I would recommend leaving it in and putting 0. That way no one can come back later and
Right,
say,
hey, wait a
oh,
minute.
you forgot to put
Yeah.
it in.
Yeah, good point.
Does that
So,
make sense?
Fine with me.
In an amount not to exceed, edit this real quick.
You can just change the words.
We authorize you to do nothing.
Not a dime.
So what would you like the wording to say then?
I think it could, from the standpoint of when I talked to Madison about it, who's the grant administrator,
You say
you're
authorize no
free,
funds
you're free to just put 0.
Okay,
or no funds.
all right.
Yes.
But the second half of that, I just have a little question about it, and it says, and obligations of any grant awarded. But in fact, the county would be the
Terms.
financial agent, the fiscal agent, so we would receive the funds, we will account for it, and
We
we
don't
will
mind.
disperse it. So in fact, we do have some soft costs involved. So I don't wanna delete the whole thing specifically, because the obligations of any grant awarded, we do have obligations if this grant.
So we're authorizing an expenditure of zero funds.
Yeah, and you know what, that's,
Other obligations as required.
yeah, they're not talking about our matching dollars here.
Right.
I misread this. Really, the Board of County Commissioners authorize the expenditures of funds in an amount not to exceed the grant amount.
No.
Not to exceed a certain amount necessary to meet the terms and
Right,
obligations
of the
any
grant awarded. So whatever the grant amount is should go in there, not a dollar over it.
45, what is it, Linda?
We authorize expenditures of the grants that are
Of the
gained.
grant dollars.
Then I would like to just change it to not to exceed the amount of the grant revenues received.
Was that confusing, like we're gonna match it with the same amount?
Well, when I first read it, I thought that's what it was.
You could easily, these things are fine to be changed. It's just, they need to be changed and signed so that I can get it in by
Right.
5 o'clock tomorrow. But they consider these templates, and they encourage you to be as clear as necessary.
Right, so let's clear that.
Well, if we write the grant and we're awarded the grant, wouldn't we authorize the expenditures of the grant funds?
And if you say it like that, I'm 100%, we authorize expenditure of any monies received under the grant, and that precludes us from adding any.
So not to exceed the amount of the grant.
With no obligation for matching funds, something like that. We're not gonna match
Of the grant
anything.
received, because we might
Right.
ask for something and not
Right.
get the whole amount.
Right.
Right.
Oh,
Of
we
the
haven't
grant
fun yet?
award, of the
Welcome
award
to
grant.
Wordsmithing
So-
101.
Okay, so in order to move past this, we can let her go and work with Clint, come up with the right word.
I think that's fine.
Well, it's one sentence, let's just do it and be done with it, and
That's
then
all
we
right.
can
Make
sign
it
it, she
good.
needs it tomorrow.
I was
It's
gonna
got
say,
to go to
now
mail
they can-
tomorrow, so.
Yeah,
I
I don't have a
have-
copy in front of me myself.
I have 4.
Miss Brenda's struggling to get a word in edgewise here.
I just changed it, the Board of County Commissioners authorize the expenditure of funds in an amount not to exceed the amount of the grant revenues received,
I love it.
to meet the terms and obligations of any grant awarded.
Solves it for me.
Okay.
Yeah, or limit it to the
This-
grant fund. You need
Right.
to limit it to the grant
Not to
funds.
exceed, that's right. That's what that would mean.
Brenda said it perfectly.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with any matching
And
or
it-
not matching.
Actually, I just wrote what you said.
Oh. That's why you're so brilliant.
That's
That's why he
right.
likes it. That's why I thought it was perfect.
No wonder you liked it, yeah, exactly.
I do
She'll
think-
give it to you.
Okay, well, I do think it's valid if you wanna have it in there to just go that extra level of specificity and say that the county is not committing any of their own funds.
Not committing
Because
any taxpayer.
we will have soft costs involved, and I don't want someone to come back and say, wait a minute, it cost the county, X amount of hours to administer it, that isn't
So
expensive.
you could
I don't
say
want that in there.
we recognize that we will be responsible for administering this expenditure.
Well, that's in here
of
further.
the grant
Mhm.
fund.
Yeah, that's in there further, I've read it.
Is it
So-
far enough in?
Yeah, so
Right, then
I
leave it
don't
there.
wanna say we're bound only to that, because we will have some soft costs, and I don't want someone to come back and say, you said you weren't gonna pay anything, and now you're paying something, so I would leave it the way Brenda so eloquently
Copy
stated it.
used.
I think the other thing that goes in along with this that is probably gonna help with the issue is that the budget that goes in along with it, like I say, the computers weren't talking, but you have to list every dollar, who's providing it, where it's gonna go, and you're not even on there. So, basically, the sum total is that we're requesting $44,330 from GOCO. We are going to put in $6,020 in cash. We're gonna, between, the town of Westcliff, who's putting in $1,800 worth of, work on spreading compost on the park, and the rest of our in-kind match together brings that up to $9,580. So you're on there in no place. The only groups who are on there with any commitment are other than vendors are San Isabel and Westcliff.
We talked about a part-time seasonal employee being funded through this grant. Who would that employee work for?
Me.
Okay.
Yeah, but I work for San Isabel, and San Isabel has an MOU with Westcliff over that, so they would report to me, but basically we all.
Who's gonna pay the salary, I guess is what I was getting at. Okay.
We will, yeah.
SILT.
Yeah, and that is considered, it's not even considered a direct, we can't even use that as a direct cash match because it's a support position.
Right.
So it's part of our income.
Good. Okay.
Yep. The only other people who are getting salaries, we wrote in here, I talked with the school, and we're gonna have a student steward program, easier to write than to say. And so what we hope we're going to be doing is hiring some of the people in the school district to grow out the plants for us and plant them, and be the people who are doing a lot of the on-the-ground work.
Well, the ag program should be all over that.
Well, it kind of fits with sustainable ways. One of the things that was really great about this is this required 8 different letters of support. And I learned a lot, kind of like this morning, learning about how much the recycling program does and some of the other things that are going on. But Sustainable Ways is trying to get a greenhouse.
Doing a great job.
Yeah, and we're hoping that the big overall picture someday is that greenhouse can do what our greenhouse did in Womack, Washington, where those kids, that ran the BOCC program. It was a moneymaker for the whole school, and people would go in there and pay double to buy geraniums because they were supporting BOCC, and they sold out in no time, and they ran the whole business start to finish. They had to do all the tax filings and track all the numbers, and it was just a great program. So we're hoping that someday this could grow into that.
Yeah, we had a 3,000 square foot greenhouse in Oregon with the ag program up there that I taught at. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Cash cow.
Yeah, and teaching people really all sorts of good things. Horticulture,
Absolutely.
business. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, so is the board ready to move forward on?
I move we accept that with an additional language that Brenda wrote on section 3.
Okay, and actually this is the resolution, so I would assume your motion is to adopt
this resolution with the
18-18.
modification
Thank you.
of section 3 as written.
Yeah. And certainly you can take a quick glance at section 3, so we change the name.
I will second the motion to adopt 1818. If I may make a comment that I've made before. I've been involved with this with the town of Westcliff. They do have a financial contribution to this. I've worked with them on that. I've given them legal advice as to their obligations and responsibilities. I don't feel there is a conflict of interest since the county's role is very different from the town of Westcliff's role. So unless council feels that it would be inappropriate for me to vote, I feel I could vote, but I did want to put on the record that I've worked on this from 2 different angles.
Okay, thank you. We will all 3 be signing this resolution if it passes. We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 18-18. I just want to read a couple things out of here. I won't go through the whole thing. Resolution of the Board of County Commissioners for Custer County supporting the grant application for local parks and outdoor recreation mini grant from the State Board of the Great Outdoors Colorado Trust Fund and for the completion of the Bluff Park Enhancement Project. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners for Custer County, a political subdivision, State of Colorado, supports the Great Outdoors Colorado grant application for the Bluff Park Enhancement Project, and if the grant awarded, the Board of County Commissioners and San Isabel Land Protection Trust support the completion of the project. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners has requested $45,000 from Great Outdoor Colorado to enhance the environmental and scenic conditions of the Bluff Park and its long-term educational recreational value to Custer County youth, residents, and visitors. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners for Custer County that there's 7 sections of this, or 8 sections, sorry, that I think the critical section is section number 7. If the grant is awarded, the Board of County Commissioners hereby authorizes the Executive Director of San Isabel Land Trust to sign the grant agreement with the Great Outdoors Colorado.
I'm fine with it.
Yes, ma'am.
The number that needs to go in the second paragraph at the top is 44,330. I'm sorry.
Okay,
This
let's
was,
change that.
yeah.
Okay, Ms. Brenda, 45,300 and
44,330.
okay, I would move to amend the resolution to change the request amount to $44,330.
Yeah, I like that, but before I do have a comment.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
He seconded.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to amend the
I
resolution.
moved it.
No,
Let's move
to
to
amend.
Oh, amend it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we can vote on that.
Okay, discussion on the amendment. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. The resolution will be amended now to read $44,330.
Okay.
Further
So,
comments?
my only comments are, just to clarify this, in general, this is a resolution that the county is champion and saying we agree and we'd like to partner with the San Isabel Land Trust. They don't work for us, right?
Correct.
And so the only confusing language to me is that we are authorizing them to sign the grant, which they don't work
Well,
for us.
no, but
Why would we?
we're applying for the grant.
Well, so they're gonna, so that's my question. Are we authorizing them to act as us to sign it, as opposed to us
We're
signing
making
it on
them
the
the agent
Say-
to allow them to
Is
go
that clear
forward
here?
with the grant based on these parameters.
Okay.
Is
That
the way
makes
I
them the
understand
agent, so when we say we're authorizing them to do it, we don't have to have some other language that
Well, I
tells
think
them
the
that we're
IGA
partnering with them.
No, I got it.
The IGA
Is good enough? Okay, that's all my question, is just so that the common citizen, like me, that picks it up and
Right.
looks at it,
You
isn't
really have to
confused
have the
that San
IGA.
Isabel has not
Right.
got anything to do with the county other than their own thing.
Correct.
Right.
Okay,
And while it has nothing to do with us,
that's right.
it's a fabulous organization. We support you a lot. We really support it.
So we're just partnering with them, and
That
that's
is-
good news. I
That
don't know,
bluff
my,
is
as long as it's clear.
one of the gems of our county.
Thank you.
I'll
Wait,
stop right there. I know you're gonna make a great
yeah, wait until 2 years from now
Okay,
when
and I
there's.
could say, make
Right.
the bluff great again.
Like it. Where'd you get that idea?
Further discussion.
Yeah.
Hearing none, public comment pertaining to the adoption of resolution 18-18. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. The resolution has been adopted. We'll take a brief minute and sign that.
Should we have it printed with the right amount of money on
It is. This is the new one.
She's,
So, she's good.
She may be
She's really
crippled,
good.
but she's on top of it back there.
You need, I think someone needs to let Donna know as soon as possible, so we can get that on the,
Out the door.
budget for next year. I don't, when do we find out if we get that?
March, the end of the first week of March.
I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
Yeah, but Donna should be,
And where?
yes.
She may be aware right now. No, are we live streaming or no?
We are,
And maybe Virginia.
yeah. Well, Susie's
Uh,
watching.
sorry.
Need a copy of the pension?
I didn't
Yep.
mean to start to hand it
She
to you
needs
and
it.
drag it back, but Kelly needs to
Kelly,
attest it.
that's it.
Okay, then, that being done, I'd like to discuss the,
You're gonna make this up.
assuming my computer's gonna work.
Just grab mine away.
It's not, yeah, don't
Contagious.
get it up here close to mine. The letter of support. Let me see, Bluff Park letter of support.
Oh, and we don't need one
Okay.
from you. What we do have to put in with this, because you're the fiscal sponsor.
Right.
So they assume.
You're right that we support it, sure.
Actually, you say that in here. But the other piece of that is we have to put in the draft, what I showed you last week was the intergovernmental agreement. Brenda corrected me, because we're not the government. What we need to write is an MOU. And I called Madison, and all we have to do is just, and I've done it, I just changed the name at the top of it, the memorandum of understanding.
Okay. This is a copy of a letter, I'm assuming that,
Wait a second.
let me
Oh, yes,
just,
I do, resolutions. No, that's the resolution.
Bluff Park Enhancement Project Summary starts out with the Custer County Board of County Commissioners requesting funds, and at the bottom, basically says you can help by writing a short but persuasive letter.
Uh-huh.
Did that come from you?
That came from me.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
And so that really is coming from us because we're the grant writer. We're the grant applicant. I'm all glad that SILT is gonna do it.
Right. It's, the way that they talk about it is that there is a primary contact. And Madison said that it's very frequent in these circumstances where there is a non-eligible applicant, which is what we are.
Right.
It has to go through a municipality.
Mm-hmm.
The sponsor, all they do is agree to sponsor it
Right.
and to hold the money and disperse it, usually only in 2 checks. So once we do a certain amount of work, you can write 1 check to let us get started, and when we get done, you can write a 2nd check. That's the way it usually goes, to minimize the work to you. In asking people to write the letters, I saw, I said, this is really all 3 of us working together.
Right, I see
Westcliff,
that, yes. Mm-hmm.
When the letters came back, and if you're interested, here they are. Some of them said Custer County, some of them said San Isabel, and some of them said both.
Back from where?
Citizens or groups.
Are you interested where they came from?
Yeah.
Because they were pretty neat.
Yeah.
So Valley Park Recreation and Youth, the town of Westcliff, High Mountain Hay Fever, Custer County Chamber of Commerce. My very favorite one was from the school district. And I think got this one here.
Very impressive. Yeah.
Great.
Yep. Dick and Audrey Sturmer, because they're the neighbors, and Trails for All.
That's good.
Is there still time, Linda, to have more letters of support?
We're only able to put 7 in.
7, okay.
They have a cap, but what I'm finding is that these things are going to be useful in a lot of different ways, and we would love to have another one.
The Frontier Pathways.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've been in your position with the county commissioners in the past when we, had funds come in, had to have the county as the agent, same type thing, just basically have channeled money through from the grantor.
Yeah. Good. And that went okay?
Oh, gotcha. You've run a lot of money through this county.
Good. Well, I found it just really inspiring to get all those letters, and to, part of what people were supposed to do when they wrote the letters was not talk about our proposal so much as to talk about what they do for the community. How many constituents they have, the diversity of people that are part of it, what their long-term goals are, and if there's any role that the Bluff could play in that. And it was really inspiring. I'm pretty excited about where this project could go, which is a good thing, because it's more money than the board wanted me to put in there, but I think it's important. We'll do it.
I'm certainly willing to talk about the elephant in the room because I'm probably the only one that thinks there's an elephant in the room.
Which is?
In reference to your poster the other day at our meeting in Wetmore.
Oh,
Is there a possibility that this project might include the first roundabout in Custer County?
No.
Oh.
Not on our part. And it's not gonna include the first, it's not even the first, the second amphitheater. Yeah, I don't know if you were familiar with the long-term history of this, but there was a point where there was gonna be $2.5 million raised, and it was gonna be very, very different from what it would be. Nothing that we're doing precludes, if the community decides somewhere down the road that's what they wanna do, and if they can fundraise behind it, great, we won't stand in the way of that, but,
The amphitheater was where the proposed parking is now.
well, actually
Down
not.
there.
Yeah, it's,
Down in the northwest
North end.
corner.
yeah, so where it slants down there, and then the parking lot's right here, just I have a picture.
Heads for the pond.
Does your picture have a roundabout in it?
No,
No.
it doesn't. You're welcome. So the amphitheater was gonna be right
Right.
here, this is the parking lot.
Right.
And so what we're talking about doing down here is maybe making that part of the outdoor classroom that we do with Custer County Schools, and have, put some natural looking things to climb on, sit on, be able to have like a classroom area when they want the kids to sit down and be able to focus, and then be able to go out from there. So there'll be things for them to be able to crawl on, low height, all professionally set up so nobody falls off and breaks their noggin. But other than that, I think what we're going to do down there, because that is just so brutally without any topsoil, it won't even grow weeds very well. I think that'll probably end up being an area where we do a lot of the xeriscape, and coming up with low water native plants that people would be able to use to, as the water prices go up, and as we have more developments in places where there's not very much water and not very much augmentation, we need to come up with something, and we're looking at that as an opportunity, especially alongside working with the school, and if they get their greenhouse, to be able to come up with an easy place for people to go find the plants that you can put in your garden, that don't take a lot of water, don't turn into noxious weeds and run all over, because that's a typical thing that happens when people get a site-adapted plant. The next thing you know, it's knapweed, and it's everywhere. So, yeah.
No, I just was sure we were gonna end up in a roundabout.
Yeah, I don't know. That,
How about with that?
it is.
It was on that poster that they showed us in
I
Wetmore.
didn't even
Oh, you
notice.
didn't? First thing I noticed.
Well, first thing I noticed is they had left the E off Westcliff, so I
Yeah.
thought maybe it was
No,
not
that-
really.
Tom's afraid he'll get stuck on it and not get out.
Yeah. Not be able to
There
get
goes
out.
Big Bend again.
Silver Cliff, if you put the E in to Cliff, those are fighting words for them too.
Yeah. Leave our E's alone.
Silver Cliff.
Right. Okay, so do you need anything else from us for your deadline tomorrow?
If you would have time to, just to review that used to be called the intergovernmental agreement, now it's called the MOU, and I can email it to you as soon as I get back to the office.
If
With that new name, it doesn't
if we
need to
just-
be signed, but it's sent in as a draft, and I just don't like to sneak up on people. So if
Yeah.
there's something in there that,
If you would send it to all of us, I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, and we've got it if you just change the IGA to MOU if there's
Yep.
no other changes.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
yep, that's it.
I read it, it was fine.
Yeah.
It looked good to me.
So would you like us to, take action on that and sign it? Are you gonna have anyone else sign it? The town of West Cliff and,
We can't really sign it because at the top it says, because you have received this grant,
Oh,
now
got it,
you're doing
okay.
an MOU.
okay.
Although if we do it, they have to give us the grant. Is that the way it works?
Yeah, it says and received a grant, so we're a little cart before the horse there, yeah, got it, okay.
But what I could
You don't wanna
do,
wait on it?
the MOU, yeah, I think so. But what I can do, if you're comfortable with it, is to just say that it's been through a preliminary
Sure.
review by the,
Sure.
Preliminarily, we don't see any major issues with it.
We agree in concept.
oh, perfect. See? Everybody's a wordsmith.
Right, okay, very good.
Excellent.
All right, anything else, ma'am?
Do you need anything from me?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Did you get the attested copy?
Not yet.
I do?
Yeah, I gave it to you, but it's right on the top right there.
Yeah.
But it came out as two-sided. Do
That's
you
okay.
want me, will that work for you? Okay,
I'll just scan it in the other way.
okay.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're
I
welcome.
very much
Thank
appreciate
you.
your time.
Appreciate it. We'll look forward to big things down there.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be really good. I'm just so excited to have this be one of my first projects. Thank you.
We're glad you're doing it.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it looks in 2 years. I'll be done by December of 2020.
All right. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our new business. We do have public comment section. If anybody has public comment. Very good. If not, I would like to take about 5 or 6 minute recess, and then we'll go into an executive session. Okay.
Bang that gavel.
Kelly?
You stay right there.
Go back and now back.
That's the only move fast.
Bad enough to say.
Shut up.
Thanks, I'd like to call Margaret.
I probably should have brought this up, but I know this would happen.
Oh, okay.
Cause I was like, you know,
And we know.
my friend John was gonna
Ugly
take her,
building,
I
isn't it?
can't take her until I'm going to her.
Nice to know what we got.
So,
Exactly.
anyway. when she
In Fillmore, California.
It doesn't surprise me.
Well, the thing
It's kind of
is,
like the Walmart.
Serious snow up there.
Yeah, John lives over on Muddy and he
that's
plowed.
family
That
dog.
looks like
Anyway, you think you're still gonna go
way
over?
up front ought to be
Yeah, I want
designed
to
for
go over and
someplace.
do
Well,
just a couple things in the
Well, no, but I'm saying,
Yeah.
with my,
Give me all
and I didn't bring it up
those
here, but I'll send you all these
Sure,
pictures,
several
but
different places.
before the cattle get out of the
You wanna
gate,
just
fix
bring
the
it down to
fence,
the office?
in other words. And I just did this on the
Yeah.
planning
I
commission
didn't
in
get hers
Westwood.
so soon.
You know, have
I was thinking you might be here on 4 or 5,
what
she's,
was
no,
the
she hasn't done.
RV park.
Okay.
And so instead of having
I
the
will-
town
I'll
see a whole
get-
bunch
I'll
of
get in
campers
trouble
sitting
with
along the
her,
road,
but
you know, make it
I let her in during it.
attractive so
It
that
doesn't
for people
snow.
coming in,
Linda's-
you know, all of us too. But anyway, so in other
I
words,
think she worries
and I
about
had to do this in my truck.
Oh, I think
truck
she
from
was.
West
Yeah,
Bend.
she did.
You need to ride back to your place?
No,
No, I
yeah,
wanna
no,
walk.
when you
Oh,
come in
I
and
mean,
say,
I
hey, I
walked
want
around.
to do this, my
No,
business
she
here,
needed to do it.
and what do I have to do? Yeah, we have to have some kind of
I'll be
guideline.
there for.
Well, then that's.
Westwood has talked about putting in
But she got the design for John.
so that they could say, this is too ugly for us, we're not gonna let you in.
They've been sort of doing that already. That
Either
new
John or
arts
Linda.
gallery down by the
Okay.
So you think you're gonna be leaving like,
by across the street from
okay.
Somebody else said.
the theater down south, right north of
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
train
yeah.
station.
Well, the town can do it, figure it out all night.
I know.
Exactly.
But so that's what it'd be nice to have people continue to have to make that.
Yes,
It's not
no,
too
the
bad.
thing is,
That's fine. So I've just been finding this.
I thought I would,
Yeah, right now, I'm
It's a
asking.
good idea, I like it.
Yes, and well,
I
Yes,
know.
yeah.
the thing is, all of a
I'll have
sudden,
to
you
get back
know,
with her.
something comes in, and yet we want tax.
And that was right
Let's
here.
start doing it.
Okay, yeah, so it's another.
At least they went in and volunteered. They didn't have to put that sidewalk back.
No, they didn't have
I told
to.
her.
They had to put the sidewalk.
But I understand.
I just have a conflict line it out.
Right, I'm telling you, but the thing is, the town of
And I'll just be
Silver.
down at the office.
I'm just going to say, go back and forth.
You got plans today?
Yes, with her duties, going up and down that road is not gonna be
In other
any
words,
fun.
Oh, yeah. Well, she's got it
well,
done.
we said, well,
She does.
maybe we'll
She
go
puts it on the
somewhere.
track.
That's true.
But, or we're gonna spend an
Or
extra
spend an extra
$25,000 or whatever it is.
Take it better from.
You follow me?
I'll probably have the final version in.
And you'll see it on 5 or 6. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, it was good for Miley. Marla's
Pay attention to those if
Yeah, they like to call
they're.
until tomorrow.
Probably most of them have.
The
Yeah.
Because cards are just putting in the start by
Just to
the
capture there's not some, you know,
and it's
where
not. All of a sudden, so maybe we don't even advertise it.
In charge of cards.
Well, be sure to talk to Bob, to Gary Hines.
Oh, here, okay, yeah, the road
Boss.
That
And
is not
look at what he's got, and they make signs. If we get into where we want to spend our buck,
And then I can extract it from
get a
there.
committee
It's
member in
basically
there,
what's
let's find out what it takes. We got a budget to make signs to a point.
I invited
I would like to, I want to replace
At least we
every
have
sign.
some.
I want to put up all the signs, the old rules on every sign.
I don't have any second set eyes or launches right now.
If it means we gotta stamp it, or we gotta hire it out somewhere to get it, then let's figure out what that cost difference is, and figure out how we're gonna make that.
$10,000, we only want $5,000.
Get a historic.
Okay, so the soft copy's on its way. Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, and I can tell you.
Gov.com.
Madison said make sure to have that.
No, I don't either, but I believe that most rumors have some basis.
I'm getting pictures for
We have a new board.
Hey, Brent.
Because
Never had met you yet. Welcome to the valley.
Tom, Virginia said she has to get her grandson in 10 minutes,
The one that just
so
appointed?
you wanna,
Move it till tomorrow.
well, or you can recess and wait until
There's
she's
so much
back.
going on the sixth.
Whatever you wanna do.
What you gotta do with it, how long does it take?
Well, she's gonna pick him up and take him somewhere. So she's gonna wait for him to be done in preschool, college.
So what's your
No, we need to have her. She's not gonna wait till she gets back.
Somebody told me.
Let me see it, let me see it.
I was told that,
No.
I was told that the next
What if
one.
she's late, what if it's not?
It was,
Charlie.
No, she's
11?
Can you wait a half an hour is the option.
What is it?
Wait a second.
It's to,
Okay,
the money is
let me
primarily around,
Okay, so
regenerative
Okay, so.
management of the
I
grounds.
agree with that.
So we're either gonna wait.
The turf is very in it. Yeah, it's just,
Hold on. Call the meeting back to order. Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
We have a
This note of
executive session scheduled after our new business. Mrs. Gady, what was the result of your last phone call?
Virginia has to pick up her grandson, and would not be back until about 11. She said we either can do it at 11 or we can do it Friday.
What's the problem with doing it tomorrow? I don't get why other people are starting to schedule our executive sessions.
Right. Don't take that wrong, but he's right. This is our business. This is our job. Picking up your grandkid may be important if the child's sick and it's an emergency, but that is not part of your job.
The only issue here is we finished early today. The
Well,
agenda she saw was all this.
Let me share you then the discussion I had with Virginia when I invited her to the executive session. She informed me then that she would need to be done and gone by 2 o'clock today. And I felt like we could make that happen, so I said that was fine. So there was nothing, I was not aware that she needed to go pick up her grandson.
We did have a lot on the agenda that got
Canceled today.
removed, so.
So
But no,
you're right about it, but there's circumstances on this one. I'd like to finish.
Apparently she's not able to meet tomorrow. Is that the indication of Friday or?
evidently not.
You're just relaying information you got.
Yeah, I can ask her.
Why don't you ask her real quick? That'll make it easier to do it for her.
Okay, does that, tomorrow's okay? so you still, same time, you would not be available. Okay. Okay, thanks.
Still have a problem tomorrow with school?
She would have the same issue tomorrow that she has to go get him. But she wouldn't be available like between 10:30 and 11.
What's the group's pleasure?
Tomorrow's agenda would probably be longer because of.
Well, I ask our pleasure, my comment would be, I'm very disappointed, but there's actually no purpose to have this without the supervisor involved.
Right.
So I'd say, let's postpone it till she finds it in her ability and wisdom to come visit with us. I don't know how to say that. I mean, I'm miffed, to be honest with you. I mean, should I come prancing into tomorrow's BOCC meeting at 10 and say, oh, I'm sorry, I had to go, deliver something in the morning? No, I don't do that. We have an obligation.
I agree.
I would take that as a motion to postpone until Friday.
Let's do it tomorrow.
She can't.
I thought she said she could.
No.
Why?
Well,
Same
okay,
thing.
so
Well, but we're
tomorrow
not
she
gonna
can
get
do
done
it.
early.
Well, we don't know that.
She can
Well,
do
that's
it
true.
tomorrow, but she's not available between 10:30 and 11.
Okay. Let's do it Friday. I move that we postpone it till Friday.
Wait a
Put
minute.
it on the
Wait.
agenda.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was gonna say, we've got that show and tell with the strategic plan.
That's Friday.
That's Friday, and that'll take up some time. And I don't know that it could, or it might not, I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be, maybe it'd be a better deal to try to do it tomorrow, because we're probably gonna run through
Well,
we could
between
run through the
10:30 and
10:30
11.
hour, I'll bet you, because,
We're only 20 minutes on from 11 right now.
yeah.
So she would be unavailable between 10:30 and 11, is that my
That's what she
understanding?
said.
Correct.
Okay, then let's move it.
Do it to
I agree with
tomorrow.
you. We'll be here later tomorrow. We've got a whole agenda tomorrow.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Then moved and seconded to postpone the executive session until tomorrow. It's not debatable. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay, motion carries. Any further, Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Before we do that, I
Yes.
do have one question, if I may, please. Last week, the week before, there was a hastily called meeting in multiple counties to discuss the district attorney. I learned about it the day they were having it that evening. I could not attend, but I really wanted to. Has anybody heard anything from that meeting?
I didn't see anything.
I have not heard directly from the meeting, but I heard what the meeting was about.
I
Are
knew
you
it was
aware of
about.
that? Okay.
I was wondering
No,
if
I haven't
there was
heard
a
any
vote of
results.
non-confidence and if they were going to.
I'm assuming Mr. Byerly attended that meeting. He told me he was going to. I'm having lunch with him today.
Okay. I'd like to know what the outcome of that was, because if they gave her a vote of no confidence or issuing a recall, I'd sure like to know about it.
Yeah. So I'll have that conversation at lunch. That way I can write off my lunch today.
I'm
Okay.
not going there, but are you going to the Hilton for lunch? That was a joke.
Now, only upstairs goes to the Hilton. I
I
go to
get
the El
it.
Dante.
Next
So
will be the Four
tomorrow-
Seasons.
Your point well taken, Commissioner Cannon, thank you about Friday. That's right, we've got stuff going on Friday, don't we?
It will be with visitors, so it'll be a good thing.
Now, I don't have the stuff you were talking about written down. You said we're gonna have
On Friday, she'll be here.
right?
She's gonna explain the process. She's gonna explain what the committees are gonna be doing, the committee and the task force. And we wanna talk about the questions, the questionnaire, because the intent is to get it between now and then, get people to, like Kelly and all the people that attend the meeting, to help rewrite those questions to make it directly applicable to us and what we think, not what somebody else had an idea before and used a canned thing that they've already broadcast. She'll also have the 67 questions that were answered. You know, I can say, here's what we've got from that first shot that we withdrew, just to have just to see and discuss, and, you know, get the team kind of thinking about it. So then we want to get, the result of that meeting needs to be, we're going to get, these people are getting questions to her, she'll rewrite them, she'll run them through us between now and either the next meeting or the meeting after. We can approve the new questionnaire and the process to get them out. I told her I didn't want to just throw it on a county website and get people to go to it. It needs to, you could have a hard copy printed in the stores if we wanted to hand out. We could hire some high school kids to go door to door with the Boy Scouts or something, you know, to help really get the county excited about this and answer this for me, Mom, you know. So we get a good cross-section of input back so that on the 7th of January, it doesn't have to be completed by then, but we've got a good start on what we can use with the task force to go and take it and start develop, however she's going to have us start talking about the strategic plan. So that's what we need to do.
Would need to be done
that's right. That survey would have to be done, and a lot of it, if we get it done in time, a lot of it will be being done over Christmas or whatever to make sure people are aware that it's there. I wasn't even aware they put it out the last time they did it.
I wasn't either. Someone told me, then I went to the website and found it before it was pulled down. I go, wait a minute.
Yeah, I come out of it, and it's a bunch of stuff that didn't apply.
Absolutely. So I appreciate the way you're doing it. I saw the invitation to all the departments to please come join us if they'd like to. And that is the right way to do this. Let's get as many people involved as we can to come up with the best plan we can.
Right, and then we can discuss the membership of the task force too, to make sure we're not, I mean, let's go get a survivalist out there if we think that's important.
Right.
Whatever.
We don't want it heavy on one side, we don't want it heavy on the other side. We'd like the ship floating as level as we can.
And I don't care if they're, and she even said, if it's a negative person that's gonna always poo-poo something, fine, get them in there, because what it does, it gets them, the other people talking, and they'll say, oh, well, you've got, it gets them, it changes their angle a little bit, so.
I can't tell
That's
how
all
many
good.
times, I'm sorry, to interrupt you. I was gonna say, I don't know how many times people call me to yell at me as a commissioner, and they're shocked when I tell them, I say, that's a very
good
point.
idea.
I haven't thought about it.
Right.
So having a negative person is not a problem.
I don't mind that either.
So that's all gonna occur during the meeting?
Yeah, that's what it'll be, and it's because she's the only thing on the agenda, basically, new.
Right.
And it's an opportunity to meet her and understand how this process works, and we can show people a copy I had of the Pasadena example she had, blah blah. That, I only showed you 3 or 4 pages of that. There's 25 pages.
Okay, well, tomorrow afternoon, there is a site tour of the proposed AT&T tower site.
Oh, I didn't know that. Where was that?
Right on the sheriff's right outside his window.
And here's the, I don't know that it's an issue, but we may have a conflict if we are running late and in an executive session.
Well, that's true.
Evan
What time is
Brooks
that?
told me that would be midday, that they would probably finish up by 1 or 1:30, and I said, well, we have a commissioner meeting. We'll get out there as soon as we can.
We can kind of push tomorrow. We've got some staff reports, right?
You're right, we could balance by putting maybe some tomorrow onto Friday. But that would be a change to the agenda, and we really can't do that without 24 hours.
We've got the RETAC grant app for tomorrow. And
Most of that.
hopefully, I don't expect the personnel issue to take a long time,
No,
the executive session. But, and I apologize for not telling you last week in Wetmore about this AT&T site bid.
And
So,
is that, are we gonna meet here? Or?
no, we will walk out here and meet at the site, which is obviously south of the sheriff's office.
They need to tell us how tall that is.
It's 150 feet.
150.
It's monopole, one single pole.
And they're gonna decorate it for Christmas for us?
They're
Absolutely.
going to have to if they build it that quick.
Halloween will not. We will not decorate it for Halloween.
No, it's a little late.
Grinch over there wanted to dress up for Halloween, and I told her absolutely not.
I did. I'm Johnny Cash without his hair.
Miss Kelly,
I saw her. I was here personally, so I sat in that chair right back
I
there.
sat there and said, oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's fine to be fun, but that was over the top. It was pretty cool. It was different.
Okay, now the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
I'll second.
Moving second to adjourn, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay, motion carries. Counselor, I don't remember you voting on that.
I missed a vote for the first time in 4 years. I always vote silently.
Do you? Okay.
I'm always with the majority.
Oh, you are? Okay. Silent majority.
Alright, jump your moment.
It must be the Halloween tricks.
Oh, my
This-
computer
nothing
is
is
being stupid.